All right, here's another little, not really any kind of a major project, but just some more working on the bus. I'm doing the in the middle of doing the airbags on the driver's rear axle here. I got the bags out. It's getting some pretty good leakage out of the bags. These ones, well, just one really, but just the rear one. But I figure while I'm in there, I might as well change them both. So I have one, but I had to order another one, so that's coming from US Coach. It'll be here, I hope, sometime this week. Tracking said it cleared Canadian Customs on Friday, so hopefully it'll be here this week. Anyways, I'm doing that. I'm planning on, so it's basically the 1st of April, so it's starting to warm up, and I'm planning on taking on a little short trip later on this month, so I'm trying to get everything finished up so I can do that. I've got it got cold last fall, and I wasn't able to finish, or putting these all the stainless back on after I put the radiators in, so I'm doing that, getting all the stainless panels back on. I did that yesterday, just letting the adhesive dry, and same thing over here. I'm just getting ready to pull that off, and then these panels here, I just have to do some trimming around the bolts for the radiator mounts, and then those are going to rivet on. So anyway, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm also finishing up the windshield wipers. I got them in and working. I'm just finishing up a couple of little things, but I'll post that on a different video. And then I got to do a big cleanup. This poor thing needs a bath, but that'll have to be another day or two. So anyways, that's where I'm at. One of my goals this summer is going to be finishing up the skinning on this thing, the stainless. As I've said in the past, I really like the factory ribbed stainless, but it's just too expensive to replace. There's a place down in Florida that makes it, but it's just too expensive. I priced it a few years ago before I started doing this, started reskinning, and to do the, to replace all the panels was almost $20,000, and it's, that's just nuts. If you were to do, you needed the odd panel or whatever, which was what I was going to do. Most of this just needs to be cleaned up. It's not, there's nothing really wrong with it, but I can reskin the whole bus in just in brushed stainless for what it would have cost me for the few panels I needed. So I just decided to go with smooth stainless, which is, I don't like as much, but it is what it is. What do you do? So anyway, however, I think I'm going to, at least I'm kicking the idea around of, rather than doing, well, I'll show you on the other side. So this has a rub rail on it here. So the panel, the stainless panel is in two pieces with a rub rail in between. Now, I'm not going to reuse the rub rail, but I'm thinking I'm going to keep that raised section like that, whatever you want to call it. It goes from the front, just behind the driver's steer wheel there, back to into here on both sides. So what I did on the other side is I just replaced the stainless with flat. I got rid of, I'm getting in the process of, that's as far as I got with it before I moved up here from the coast. And I just haven't been able to get back to it. I've been working on other projects. So there's the original there, and then I just did it flat smooth, which is, I didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. I just did it. But I'm thinking now that after I looked at it, that it wouldn't be that big of a deal to, I have to pull that panel off. Got to pull the bottom of the door, that skin off, and that one obviously, and that one hasn't been done yet, and that's as far as it goes. So I can just make up. So I don't have any of those. I just threw out the aluminum pieces that form it. But I can just make up new ones, use those as patterns and just make up some new ones. So I'm thinking that's what I'll do. I'm not positive yet, but if anybody has any opinions, let me know. So like, I'm not going to use that rubber strip, but I'll make it is in two pieces, and with that rubber strip as a divider, I'll do something else there. I wouldn't use that rubber strip, but I'm thinking that I don't know, just gives it a little more character, a little more, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. Anyways, if anybody has any ideas or any suggestions, let me know. Anyways, I'm gonna get to work. Alright, so I'm back working on these airbags. That's the new one I just got from US Coach. That's the new one that I had in stock. So what I've found, I've only done six of these airbags, so in the time that I've been messing around with buses. But what I've found is what has worked the easiest for me is to let gravity be your friend, and just drop the axle down far enough that you can get the bag and bolts all in there, and then put the line up and put all the bottom ones in first and snug them up, and then jack the axle up until there's a little tension on these. I haven't done it on this one yet. Until there's a little tension on it, you can pop each bolt into each hole. It's way less, I've found anyways, it's way less struggling doing that than trying to put the top one in first and then anyways, it just doesn't work all that well. I did it that way on the first one, I think, if I remember right. I remember I struggled quite a bit, and then I figured out this. If you set the bag on there, drop all the bolts through, you let gravity help you, and then jack the axle up, do the top ones up. I've got the back bag all in, the bottom's not tightened up yet. It's just in there and snugged. But anyways, that seems to be the easiest way I found anyway. I got two new rubber snubbers, so I'm gonna attempt to screw that out of there and replace them. We'll see how that goes. The airbags, a little over 80 bucks per bag, so that's pretty cheap. But the rings are another 80 bucks, 80 some dollars a piece. So that adds up. So if you can salvage your original rings and clean them up and they're okay, and maybe it's worth doing. I think maybe I was just going to scrap them, but I think maybe I'll just keep those, try and keep the rings for next time I have to do this. Yeah, I'll clean them up anyways to see what kind of shape they're in. If they need to be replaced, they need to be replaced. But I have been just kind of replacing them as a matter of course. You got to replace the bolts anyway. Half the time they snap, and why mess around with bolts? This one's still using the air beam, so I was able to just use the short bolts. If it ever gives me trouble, I'm going to have to buy the block off plates, and then those longer bolts are substantially more expensive too. But I did that on the front driver's side axle, and that was fairly expensive. I think the bolts were almost $5 a piece, if I remember right. And there's 2 dozen of them, so on a on a pair of bags, there's 12 on the top of each bag. So anyway, maybe I'm getting thrifty in my old age. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I found to be the most effective way of getting these in here. I'm going to have to replace these shocks one of these days, but I'm not going to do it right now. And one day I'll probably do the suspension bushings too, but again, not right now. They're not perfect, but they're not in bad shape. They're still seem to be working okay. So eventually I'll have to change them probably, but at this point they're gonna stay. Anyways, I'll take a little more video when I get this all buttoned up. Okay, so I finished doing these airbags last night. Next day here now. They're all done. And when I explained how I did it was being the easiest way, certainly does not mean that it's easy. They're not a lot of fun to put in there. Getting 2 dozen bolts through all those holes, and not having them twist and everything, and then there's not a lot of room to work around, especially this one here where the leveling valve and everything is. And even taking the leveling valve off wouldn't really help. The bracket is all welded in there. So anyways, basically it's just a box end wrench and patience and a little bit of cussing. But it's all done, and they're holding there nice, and it's all working good, so it was successful. I got new rubber bumpers here too, and I was going to replace them if it was a simple task, and I wasn't really expecting it to be, but there's the old one there. And of course, then I put a pipe wrench and a 6-foot bar on it and just snapped that bolt right off. So that's going to be a project for another day. That's going to have to be drilled out and easy outed or retapped or something. Anyway, I wasn't really expecting it to just unscrew and come out of there, but I thought it was worth a try. So that'll be a project for another day, next time I feel like pulling the wheels off. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it back together and move on. Yeehaw. So the other thing I'm doing while I'm doing a little bit of maintenance here is putting these valve stem extensions on the inside dual, so make it easier to fill and check tire pressure. I had these flexible ones here. They are absolute garbage. Couldn't get them to seal on this end, so maybe I didn't have them tight enough, or maybe that's just the way they are. I don't know. Anyways, but there's no place to mount them. They're just dangling. These ones are solid. They're made by Alcoa. There's the, well, they're made in China, but they're sold by Alcoa. There's the part number for a small hole bud wheel, aluminum. And then this grommet, once that goes in there, and then this grommet goes in and stabilizes the end of them. So those seems to be about the best for a valve stem extension I found. So I'm gonna put that on here. And to do this, I only had to take the outside dual off, so just ran the inside one up onto a couple of 2x4s. I got the outside one off the ground because it had that other goofy extension in there. That inside tire was pretty near flat, so I put enough air into it to get it up off the ground, and then once I put the new valve stem extension on it, I'll fill it all the way up. If you put it up on a couple of 2x4s, the outside dual comes up high enough to come off the ground. You don't have to jack it up. Doesn't work on the newer wheels where they're all one, the hub piloted, because they're just one set of nuts holds both tires on. But on these older Bud wheels that have two nuts, one for the inner tire and one for the, and then one, another set for the outer, works great.